As the 2019 Thunder Drags come roaring into the city of speed, the Blue Oval fraternity have yet to unseat the #1 Ram. Matt Dishman has won 4 of 6 rounds staged this year and looks to wrap up this championship before the end of the day. On the freestyle front, the 2018 champ has not had an easy go in 2019, but with Indy being home to the final 4 events of the year, they'll likely hold nothing back. The General Tire Monster Truck Thunder Drags continue next. Welcome to the Granddaddy Mall, the Indianapolis Four-Wheel Jamboree Fall Nationals. I'm standing with a guy who has a long history with this track. Specifically in 1988, you did something kind of interesting at the old fairgrounds where this used to be. This event actually outgrew the venue it used to be in.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. That's where my first event was, and actually they had the 48-inch class there the one year, and we ran my street truck. I mean, it was my street truck. It only had like 2,500 miles on it. We had like a 10-inch lift on it and 44s and rear steering, and we actually ran the 48-inch class.
So what was your first year here, actually?
You know, that's when I met Jerry Richmond, and we were rolling out here. I had the original Black Stallion with rear steering on it, and I actually drove it to Indy. I was like 17 years old, and I was Mikey's mother and myself. We were just coming through Ohio, and then we come across the Jerry Richmond's pack, that guys from his town, and I go, look at this group. Of course, I cut out around them, and I got in front of. We all had CBs at the time, and he hollers, "Hey, Black Stallion, you got rear steering in that?" I'm like, "No. Why you got U-joints in your back axle?" So I tapped my steering going down the road, tapped it back, and we've been friends ever since. Here we are, 38 years later. I mean, I put Black Stallion on my truck in the summer. It was like the middle of July, end of July, I put Black Stallion on my truck in '81. So 2021 will be 40 years for Black Stallion and campaigning that truck. Monster truck, we started about '84. End of '84, we come out with the monster truck. But of course, we have a lot of fans that's dedicated and so glad to see us back. And hopefully we will run these jamborees for many more years.
Well, it's always good to see you out here, Mike. Good luck tonight.
Yep, thanks a lot. We're going to try and take out Bigfoot first round. If not, going to do a good freestyle.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're going to make our way across the grounds here to the Ram Trucks pit area. Speaking of Ram Trucks, as we look at the points coming into round number 7, you see Raminator up on top, a 220-point lead over Overkill Evolution, the Lucas Oil Bigfoot. Little driver change in that camp we'll tell you about as we get further into the weekend's festivities. The General Tire Ram Black Stallion and Bad News Travels Fast round out our 6-truck field. All 6 of those vehicles in attendance today. We make our way over to talk to Matt Dishman. Matt, you come in here pretty much untouchable. You may have to take a couple wins, but I know you're not going to play it that way. You're going to put the truck across the finish line first every time if you can.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to come out, we're going to give it the best shot we possibly can like we always do. This is the final ride for me this weekend for a while. I'm going to retire, so it's a little bit bittersweet. Hopefully we get to go out raining on top. But, we're going to give it our best shot. We're going to run every one of them like it's a final round and see what we can do.
Little tire change for you this weekend. Is it due to the pavement out here?
Yeah, we got to get a little bit more traction on the pavement. The pavement, getting your launch off is going to be a hard part to do. When you can get the power down, you can buzz across the dirt and get back into the pavement and hammer down.
All right, Matt, well, I can see you got other people coming to meet you, so we'll let you go. Thanks a lot, man. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, well, you notice it's a little bit quiet right now here in Indy. It's about to get loud, though. Round number 7 starts next.
This Back Channel Productions program is presented in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show and ticket info, plus articles, event breakdown, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com.
At the beginning,
This edition of Monster Power is brought to you in part by Crush This. For an inside look at the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
See a lot of activity around the Overkill Evolution Ford, stuck up here on the front stretch. Appears to be a faulty ignition box hanging him up here in front of the grandstands, a problem he could ill afford, and this is what the first round bracket should have looked like, but here's the twist. Neither of the Vodders Motorsports trucks will make it into the first round bracket, so the General Tire Ram will seat up to match up with the Lucas Oil Bigfoot. Raminator Bad News travels fast. That matchup unaffected by the change, but that leaves Mikey Vodders looking on as round one gets underway. This could be the nail in the coffin for the Vodders Motorsports camp as far as the points go. In 2019 on the Monster Truck Thunder Drag Series, one of the Rams now staged up. Kurt Kramer didn't do him any favors, though. He draws Bigfoot in the first round. I mentioned Mike Miller at the wheel of Bigfoot this weekend. That is Bigfoot 15. Christian Normal with a prior engagement. We get underway here in Indy. Problems for Kramer and a big launch across the finish line for Mike Miller. Should be a pretty good time to set the pace here. First matchup of the weekend. Mike looking awesome in that Bigfoot 15, which debuted back in 1994, the tail end of 94, at a 593 ET. So a good run for him, it appears to be anyway. We'll get another look at the run he just laid down. You can see they're actually blowing the tires off here on the starting line. The dust that's sitting on top of this pavement making it very, very slick. It's like driving on glass out here. Big nosedive at the finish line. Hopefully no broken parts. It was an awfully hard hit, but that truck has survived many a battle in the past. Should be A-okay to keep going on here into action in Indy with the General Tire Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Another look at it, that 593 clocking he made in the air. Across the finish line, well, about 30 feet off the ground as we get back to the starting line for our second pairing of round number one. Brandon Darrow, who did not make a showing in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. That hurt him in the points, basically took him out of the running for the number one spot, but he could still play spoiler here in round number one as he draws the points leader, Matt Dishman. Big black Raminator Ram out of Champaign, Illinois. The A truck on the Hall Brothers Racing team. Of course, Matt retiring at the end of this weekend from Monster Truck competition. He'll be moving on to hopefully bigger and better things, although you can't get much bigger than the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Both of them with problems in the mid-range, and it looks like the win's going to go to the Ram, although it was a close finish at the end. Darrow had problems off the starting line as well. Dishman with a 6:01 clocking, so he went slower than Mike Miller, and you can see a 0.03 of a second margin of victory. You see Scott Hess and Mike Vodders Sr. working to get Overkill back on the track. Why? He may have a shot to get back in and stay with us. Things are shaking up here in Indy. Monster Power back with you at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana, with the General Tire Monster Truck Thunder Drags in the semifinal round. You see the first pairing lining up already. That'll be the Lucas Oil Bigfoot of Mike Miller taking on the Bad News Travels Fast Chevrolet, who was the fast loser. And you see Overkill Evolution back into the bracket. Kurt Kramer, DQ in round number one. He missed that last ramp. Gives Mikey Vodders a shot at a guy he needs to take down here in the semifinals, that being Matt Dishman, your points leader in the Raminator out of Champaign, Illinois. First, though, battle of Ford and Chevrolet. Mike Miller and Bigfoot 15, the Lucas Oil Firestone-sponsored Bigfoot 15, red, white, and blue, taking on Brandon Darrow out of Elkton, Virginia. And Bad News travels fast. We got the jump a little bit right there. Again, both trucks getting out of shape in the mid-range, and Mike Miller just mauled a Yodak barrier. Set out there for the tough truck course. Man, he put a hurting on that thing. They head back. We look at the times of 5:99, so he did slow down just a little bit. About 0.06 of a second slower than his round one time. And get another look at it. Both of them headed to the outside of the lanes. Bigfoot heads right, and that's why he collected that Yodak barrier. He just shoved it all the way down the track. Lee Collins out there with the golf cart. He'll push it back into place, and we'll get back underway. As you see right there, Mikey Vodder's Overkill Evolution, the big Ford out of Maryland, owned by the man out of Texas, driven by the guy out of Canada. Takes on your points leader, Matt Dishman, the big black Bighorn, the Ram out of Champaign, Illinois. Hall Brothers Racing came up from the bottom over many, many years now. Owners of the world's fastest monster truck, this corporately sponsored entry. A lot of money going into that team as they take on the Mikey Vodders in Overkill Evolution. And Dishman gets the jump off the start and will cruise over the finish line. It was all Matt Dishman from go. And he got down there in the range with Mike Miller. He sped up quite a bit. It'll be a 5:98 clocking, so he is right in line with Bigfoot going into the championship round. And hey, if you'd like to check out the Monster Truck Thunder Drags live or even be a part of the Lucas Oil 4-Wheel Jamboree, check out the 4-Wheel Jamboree on Facebook and see when and where one of these festivals of four-wheel fun is happening. Tons of competition throughout the weekend and a huge performance marketplace with products for your truck, side-by-side, or even your RC. Don't miss the Lucas Oil 4-Wheel Jamboree returning to Lima, Bloomsburg, and Indy in 2020. Look at our bracket and how we got to the final round, and you can see the clocking for the Lucas Oil Bigfoot. He ran the fast time in round number 1 at a 5:93, so he may have a little edge on the Raminator, whose best time was a 5:98. That was the last round. Lucas Oil Bigfoot slowed down to a 5:99. So out of the semifinals, only 1/100th of a second separate the two trucks running the big cleat Firestones out here on the pavement. This should be an awesome final round matchup. Can Bigfoot slow down the charge of the Ram here in the final round at Indy? Problems for Miller, no man's land, and Raminator. Matt Dishman collects the other side of the Yodak barrier. Didn't do as much damage. That doesn't matter, though. He just took another victory. I believe that will make it 5 final round victories for Matt Dishman in 2019 at a 5:90 clocking. Fastest run of the weekend so far. We're going to take a look now at the points. Right now, look at the gap he just put on Mikey Vodder's Lucas Oil Bigfoot, now caught back up to the Overkill Evolution machine. Mikey Vodder is struggling here. Struggle that he could not afford coming into round number 7, and he will go into round number 8 with a serious uphill climb. In fact, I doubt he has any hope of catching the Ram, but we will find out. That's just on paper. They have to race on the pavement out here at Indy. Coming up tomorrow. We're not done yet, though. When we come back here on Monster Power, it's time for Freestyle. Welcome back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds on a beautiful Friday evening in the City of Speed, Indianapolis, Indiana. Mike Vodder Sr. rolls out onto the competition area for the first time today. He had an electrical problem that kept him out of round number 1. Both of those trucks struggling with ignition issues, and I believe Mike may have had a battery issue as well. He mentioned at the top of the weekend that he was having trouble with his engine at the point where the transmission actually bolts on the engine block. So we'll see if that problem persists as he goes on in to open up Freestyle here on Friday night in Indy. See that big popper obstacle out there? That's similar to that big jump we had out in Bloomsburg. These guys were skying off of that big jump. Mike Vatter's now trying to kind of pick his poison. It's a lot harder landing out here on the pavement in Indy as he heads up and over that thing. Pretty clean landing. I doubt this is going to be a takeover run. Right now he's kind of searching, feeling the truck out just a little bit. Again, this is the first time he's put any real wear on this thing this weekend, and he came into the weekend with an engine problem. The truck just doesn't quite sound crisp right now. He's still trying to lay down a freestyle, but I believe... Well, I thought he was going to wrap it up right there. Looks like he's going to head over the racing lanes. A nice sky wheelie right there. Even better one off the backside. Turn it up a little bit, Mike Vaters. I think that will be the end of it for the big black stallion, the safety clean black stallion out of Hagerstown, Maryland. The legend not getting quite the start to the weekend that he wanted. In fact, the whole Vaters Motorsports camp a little bit unhappy with their showing so far. Opening up this weekend at Indy. Our next vehicle up, the big Chevrolet out of Elkton, Virginia. The lone Chevy in the field. Brandon Darrow, bad news travels fast. Notorious for those nearly perfect slap wheelies that he tends to throw down every chance he gets. And there's a perfect obstacle over here near us for that. We'll see if he can use it to decent effect as he looks to be heading right around in that direction. Dragging the wheelie bar, digging up some pavement right there. Put some grooves in it. Heads around over here into the corner. Come back, probably a speed pass over the racing lanes. Not as much to play with out here as there has been at some of our other events, and there's some electrical equipment out here at center track they'll have to watch out for. That's there for scoring and timing for our championship Tough Trucks Challenge. But Darrow laying down a good run, those big firestones, digging into the clay jumps, keeping that front end up in the air. Again, you have to keep in mind, they have to get through 3 races and 4 freestyles in each weekend with the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. He's going to cut out a donut here, smoking the tires up. Nice couple revolutions for Darrow as he heads back down toward the front stretch. We'll see what he has left. I think this might end up being the obstacle of choice, but you have to be careful how much air you get because you could end up nose first into the jump in front of you. Again, don't know how wild they're going to get here on Friday night. They have to get through 4 competitive freestyles, and that championship is still up in the air. It's not been a shoe-in year for the Overkill Evolution team. They've been battling back and forth with Team Bigfoot, and I can guarantee you with Mike Miller in the house, that is going to continue. Christian Norman did a great job getting that team on the board earlier in the year, but now with some prior engagements, it sits firmly on Mike Miller's shoulders to try to keep them in the running for the Freestyle Championship. Darrow kicking up the dust here in front of the main stage of the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Wraps up an awesome freestyle. That big bad Chevy out of Elkton, Virginia. Darrow always quite the representative for the Old Dominion. We'll get another look at that awesome slap wheelie. Just spanks the Goodyears on the pavement, uses the Firestones to put the horsepower to the track on the rear tires there. Darrow almost always perfect with those slap wheelies. Older style Patrick chassis. Likes to rear up and ride the rear tires. Now the General Tire Ram Kurt Kramer, who is the first to end up on his lid this season on the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Had to do some body work after Lima, Ohio. In fact, had to replace the whole rear suspension. He tore those shocks completely apart. So you know he's not afraid to get in this thing in freestyle, but he's been struggling a little bit with problems braking axles and a few drivetrain parts. We will see if those problems persist here in Indianapolis. And in fact, it looks like they do. And he took off. The truck pulled left. I believe he has broken the left rear axle, which will be a major hindrance to Kurt Kramer as he tries to throw down another freestyle. I know he wants to do some donuts, and he could potentially do those. He'll have to pivot around that left rear, but really has not been happy with the way things have worked out for him. He's in a great piece of equipment. He's just being bitten by these gremlins. Every time out, they cannot seem to get a grip on the rear axles on this truck. Probably fourth or fifth time we've seen him break one, but looks like he's going to take it back to the pits early. We'll be back with more freestyle from Indy. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. The second half of the field set to freestyle, and we'll open up that second half with Mike Miller in Bigfoot 15 out of Pacific, Missouri. Being driven by the man out of Pennsylvania. Seen Mike a few times this year on Monster Power, and you know he's not afraid to cut loose in freestyle. We'll see what he does here. Trying to one-up Brandon Darrow right there. It did not materialize, could not get the power to the ground as he goes through the whoops on the tough truck course. Speed pass down to the end. Miller, one of the better freestylers from the Bigfoot camp. These guys are all great racers, but he and Christian Norman really seem to have upped their freestyle game this year and brought a whole new level of spectacle and performance to the Bigfoot camp. Keeping that momentum up nicely. He hasn't gotten that huge air or any of those big slap wheelies that we're used to seeing out of him just yet. But again, as I mentioned before, 4 freestyles this weekend, so this isn't always the wildest one, but Mike should be one to throw down, and he may have just won up Brandon Darrow. Almost gets into the pole right there. Sees the obstructions that divide the infield from the front stretch as he takes on some of the Yodak barriers back over the racing lanes. And Mike Miller, I believe, is right now taking the lead in this freestyle competition. Another big slap wheelie for the king of the monster trucks. Kind of comboed it up right there, getting over on the tough truck course when he set the front end down. Dust in the sunset, providing a dramatic backdrop for the start of the final weekend of the Monster Truck Thunder Drags in 2019. Mike Miller wrapping up a freestyle that is certain to take over the lead here in Indy on Friday night. Mike Miller coming out to the cheers of the crowd. An awesome run with the Bigfoot 15 machine out of Pacific, Missouri. There's another look at that slap wheelie. This is the first one. Both times the truck sort of hung to the left, and you have to realize there is a slight camber to this track to help with drainage. Sort of tilts inward. It's not much, but it's just enough that when the truck comes down, it sort of tilts downhill. So when you get into the power, it sends the truck uphill in the direction of the poles. This was the second hit, and watch him bring the front end down right on top of the tough truck jump. Showing off that articulation in the front and rear suspension. Now your racing points leader and probably soon to be General Tire Monster Truck Thunder Drags racing champion Matt Dishman. Opening things up, kicking the dust and smoke up on the pavement with a beautiful set of donuts. This team is another one that's been working to bring their freestyle game up here in recent years, and really showing here in 2019 is Matt Dishman. Will take his shot at a potential slap wheelie. Let's see. Blows the tires off. Maybe a little bit too much horsepower for all the dust on top of the pavement. Again, these guys have said it's like driving on glass. You can tell he got a nice donut. He got it to hook up, but then once it starts spinning, there's no stopping it. They're just sliding around out here. Dishman laying down an awesome run right now in the Ram Trucks machine, though I don't know if it's going to take over. Spins around. I do believe he has a broken rear axle. The right rear appeared to be locked up on that donut. We may be able to get a look at it here on replay in just a moment, but a strong run that will come to an end here for Matt Dishman, although I don't, as I said, believe that it will take over, considering what Mike Miller just did in Bigfoot 15, but did open with this spectacular sort of walking donut as he slid across the infield. This dusty pavement provides a rare opportunity on the Jamboree Tour to do one of those. So kick the dust and smoke into the air. We'll watch again. This was that second donut. And this is where I say watch the right rear and know it is not turning. You can see the Firestone logo on the bottom there. It's in the same spot. Both times around, you can see it clearly is not spinning. There's no power going to that right rear. So problems continue for the Ram Trucks team, although I don't know if they care. They're looking toward a racing championship that appears to be pretty much in the bag as the man on the Carlton Place, Ontario, by way of Williamsport, Maryland, the man who is right now leading the charge in the Freestyle Championship here in 2019, the V2 Vids Overkill Evolution, driven by Mikey Vodders. It looks like he's going to open with something that's kind of become his signature here this summer. Brand new painted hood, by the way. They just chromed the grill on that thing, and he just slid it across the pavement here in Indy, and he goes into a crab stand. That's a new move that he's been perfecting this summer. Some of the smaller fairs around the country brings it here to the infield of the Indiana State Fairgrounds, and you can see he has already scraped up the nose of that thing. Now that he's shown some control, We move to chaos as Mikey Vauders works his way across the track. Where the General Tire monster truck Thunder Drag hits a big air in the sunset. He's got to be putting a scare into the ground screw over there. He just drove around the box that holds the transponder for the Tough Trucks course. Some expensive electronics in there. I don't know that Mike even knows they're out there. Laying down an awesome freestyle run. Heading toward the stage. It's going to be short and sweet tonight for Mikey Vauders, but that may be all he needs. As he wraps it up. Freestyle number 1 in the books here at Indy for 2019.
Nice job, ladies and gentlemen.
Dusting off the top of it. It'll be 5 and 8.
Man, nice job.
Mikey Vauders lays down another championship-worthy freestyle. Wrap up Friday night here in Indianapolis, Indiana. General Tire Monster Truck Thunder drags another look at that popper from across the infield. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Monster Power. We will see you next time.